Good morning to all. Today we are going to discuss the GMAIN questions of 2020, and 4 sessions we have already covered. You can see the video solution from our website, and now we are going to discuss the fifth paper, that is 9th 1 2020, the shift 1 mathematics paper. So we shall go to the first question. A spherical iron ball of 10 centimeter radius is coated with a layer of ice of uniform thickness, melts at a rate of 50 centimeter cube per minute. When the thickness of the ice is 5 centimeter, then the rate in centimeter per minute at which the thickness of ice decreases is. We can see the options. Some numerical values are there. So we just imagine a ball, iron ball, and ice is covered throughout the surface. You can see the figure like this. This is a iron ball, and the white portion is the ice coated there, and the radius you can see that it is 10. Radius of the iron ball, it is 10, that is equal to 10. And we have to calculate the rate at which the thickness of the ice decreases. This is the thickness of the ice. Suppose that is equal to x. So what you have to calculate is dx by dt. We have to calculate dx by dt. This is what you have to calculate. And what is given? The melting of ice is given. The melting of ice, we have to calculate the rate of change of ice, volume of ice. So what will be the volume of ice? Volume of ice will be is equal to the entire volume minus volume of the iron ball. So V is equal to, V means the volume of the ice. V is equal to, we can see that 4 by 3 pi, that will be common. The larger r minus smaller r cube minus small r cube, that is equal to 4 by 3 pi. Here total radius, the larger r, that is equal to 10 plus x whole cube minus the small r, that is nothing but a 10 cube. That is your volume of ice. And what is given? Given that the ice melts at the rate of 50 centimeter cube. So what is this 50 centimeter cube? 50 centimeter cube is equal to this, the rate of change of this volume. So dV by dt. Given that dV by dt is equal to 50 centimeter cube. So we will just differentiate here. dV by dt, that is equal to 4 by 3 pi, that is common. 3 into 10 plus x whole square minus 10 cube, that becomes 0. And 3 cancelled. And dV by dt, it is given that 50 into dx by dt also, into dx by dt. dV by dt, that is equal to 50. 50 is equal to 3 cancels. 4 pi into 10 plus, what is the value of x given? Thickness, that x is equal to 5, it is given. X is equal to 5 given. So 10 plus 5, the whole square into dx by dt. What you have to calculate is dx by dt. So that dx by dt, very easily you can calculate now. Dx by dt is equal to 50 divided by 4 into pi into 15 into 15. 15 into 15. 15 square is 15 into 15. We are not writing it as 225. Why? We have to calculate easily. So we can just cut 2 here and 25 will be there, and you can cancel 2 5s. So 1 5 you will cancel here and another 5 you will cancel here. So the answer will be what? Answer will be numerator is 1 and denominator is 18. 18 into pi. So we can see that the option is 3, 1 by 18 pi. I think it is clear. So a normal question, not very difficult and not very easy also, a usual NCERT upgraded test, upgraded question. So we shall go to the next question. The number of 5-digit numbers with distinct digits and 2 at the 10th place is 336k. Then the value of k we have to calculate. Options are also given as some integers. Actually, it is 1-digit numbers. We have to construct 5-digit numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the 10th place. That 10th place is a constant, so this 10th place can be filled only one way. What is that way? That is 2. We can fill it by 2 only. And this is the first place. So first place cannot be 0. 0 cannot be there. And distinct digits are there. Therefore 2 also cannot be there. 0 cannot be there. 2 also cannot be there. Remaining 8 digits are there. So the first place can be filled with 8 ways. And second place can be filled with again 8 ways. Why? 0 can be there. And third place can be filled with 7 ways, and 10th place that can be filled with only one way, and this is the units place, it can be filled with 6 ways. So total number is given as 336k, that is equal to 8 into 8 into 7 into 1 into 6. Okay, that is equal to 336k is equal to, and we may multiply all these things and divide by 336. That will not be very easy. We have to just think the numerator, the first digit here it is 6. The units place in this number 336, that is equal to 6. On this product, how will you get 6? 6 into something, you know it. And what is these two product? 56. Just to calculate 56 into 6. So you will be getting a number with a unit digit 6. So this is 336. We can calculate up to this one. 8 into 7 into 6, that is equal to this 8 into 336. Therefore, k is equal to 8. Very easily we can calculate that. Okay. Then we shall go to the next problem, question number 3. Let z be complex number such that modulus of z minus I divided by z plus 2i is equal to 1, and mod z is equal to 5 by 2. Then the value of modulus of z plus 3i is. The first one, we can see that modulus of z minus I divided by modulus of z minus 2i, that is equal to 1. That implies modulus of z minus I is equal to modulus of z minus 2i. Therefore, we know that z lies in the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining I and negative 2i. And this is the Argand plane that I have already constructed here. So this is the real and this is the imaginary axis. And this is your I. In y-axis, 1 is your I, and negative 2i here. This is actually not negative 2, negative 2i. Now the locus of z is the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining I and negative 2i. We can see that its midpoint is here, x1 plus x2 by 2. Okay, so there is a line. This is the locus of Z. This line represents the locus of Z and it passes through which point? It passes through negative 1 by 2 in y-axis. What is the meaning of that? Any point on this, any point, only x varies, y is constant, only x varies. Therefore, any point on this line whose y coordinate will be negative 1 by 2. Therefore, the Z can be written as, how will you write as Z? Z is equal to, x can be changed, but y is negative 1 by 2 minus I by 2. Okay, and mod Z is equal to 5 by 2. Mod Z is equal to 5 by 2 means mod Z square is equal to what? 25 by 4, that is equal to here x square plus 1 by 4, because x square plus 1 by 2 the whole square, 1 by 2 the whole square is 1 by 4. That implies what you can say, x square is equal to 25 minus 1, 24. 24 by 4, that implies x square is equal to 6. We need this x square later. And next step, we got x square, therefore x equal to root 6 plus or minus, x equal to root 6. Next we have to calculate modulus of Z plus 2i. We have to calculate the modulus of Z plus. So, we are going to calculate modulus of Z plus 3i. That is equal to, Z is nothing but, what is your Z? X minus I by 2 plus 3i. Okay, that is equal to modulus of x, and we can calculate as 6 minus 1, 5 plus 5 by 2 into I. That is equal to root of x square plus 25 by 4. And you know that x square, that is why we are calculated x square later. Already you have calculated x square. That x square is 6. So this is equal to what? Root of 6 plus 25 by 4. That is equal to 4 into 24 is, 6 into 4 is 24. 24 plus 25, 49. Root of 49 divided by 4, that is equal to what? That is equal to 7 by 2. Is equal to 7 by 2. So option 3. This is also a very usual question in complex numbers. In many of the question papers, especially G-Main level, we can see similar type of problems in which the geometry of complex number is applied. Okay, geometry means need not be like this. This is a perpendicular, the geometry of perpendicular bisector is applied. Sometimes there will be geometry of ellipse will be there, geometry as a circle will be also there. So we shall go to the next problem. In a box there are 20 cards, out of which 10 are labeled as A and the remaining 10 are labeled as B. Cards are drawn at random one after the other and with replacement till a second A card is obtained. The probability that the second A card appears before the third B card. So, if you are not getting the exact idea, if the wording is little bit confused, if you read the question 2-3 times, then you will be getting the exact idea of the question. If you are getting the idea, the problem is very simple. You don't worry about the lengthy question. What you have to get is a second A card before third B card. So only the condition is there should be 2 A card, there should not be 3 B cards. Very simple. So what is the question now? We have to calculate probability of how many times it is repeated. The drawing these cards, we are repeating the process till 2 A cards are getting. But the condition is that there should not be 3 B cards. So it can be like this. First one is A and the second one is also A. If you are getting this one, the problem is over. Need not be like that. Or, so we shall divide the case into 2, starting with the A and starting with the B. So first we will do all the cases which start with the A. Start with the A means A can be one case, or what can be other case? A, B, then an A. Okay. What is the next case? A or A, B, B, A. Now also you are getting 2 A cards. What is the next case? Or is it like A, B, 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 A? Shall we consider this one? We shall not consider. Why? In this case, we are getting 3 black cards. 3 B cards. So we shall not consider this one. So starting with A is only up to here. Now we will consider the case starting with the B. Or, so B, A, I think you are getting the idea now. Or B, then let be A, then B, one more A. Or B, B, A, A. Any other case possible? Any other case? Suppose that starting with the B, I am writing it like B, B, A, B, A. Here also 2 A is getting, but 3 B is getting. You cannot consider that. So what you have to consider is, you should get 2 A's, but you should not get 3 B's. Okay. So only this is the case required. And there are 20 out of 20 cards. How many A? 10. How many B? 10. So what you can say? Probability of A is equal to 1 by 2, and probability of B is equal to again 1 by 2, 10 by 20. And all these are independent. And means multiplication, or means addition. These are independent, you know it. So we can apply the multiplication theorem. We can say that probability of A, directly writing, probability of A is 1 by 2 into probability of A is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 plus. So directly I am going to write all these things. We can direct 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, etc. So if you are writing it as this equal to, first one is what? 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 2 cube plus 1 by 2 raised to 4 plus 1 by 2, again 1 by 2 cube plus 1 by 2 raised to 4 plus again this one is 1 by 2 raised to 4. Okay. How you are getting this one? We are just adding all these things, isn't it? Probability of A into A, or means addition, plus probability of A, B, A, etc. And probability of A is what? Probability of A into probability of A. Why? It is independent. So this is 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. That is what you are written here. And next one is what? Probability of A into probability of B into probability of A. That is equal to what? 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. That is written here. Okay. That is we have discussed. Okay. Now we are able to do the problem very easily, simplifying all these things. All this is very easily you can simplify. The answer will be 11 by 16. 16 is common and the answer becomes as 11 by 16. Okay. I think you are getting the concept. So the next problem, the value of integral 0 to 2 pi x sine raised to 8x divided by sine raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x dx is equal to. So this is also a usual question from definite integral. There are different problems associated with this concept. What is that concept? Integral 0 to pi by 2, you know it, or the sum is pi by 2. But it can be from pi by 6 to pi by 3 or something like that. Sin x divided by sin x plus cos x. Very usual question, and everybody know its answer. It is pi by 4, and its application you can see there. But only the problem is that it is not from 0 to pi by 2, and there is another x. So what will you do? You will apply the formula integral 0 to a f of x dx. Do you remember? Integral 0 to a f of x dx, 0 to 2a. Integral 0 to 2a f of x dx is equal to integral 0 to a. Integral 0 to a, 0 to 2a is equal to, we will split it as integral 0 to a plus integral 0 to a f of 2a minus x. This f of x only, f. That formula we will use. I think you remember the formula. Okay. So I is equal to integral 0 to 2 pi. I am going to write it as integral 0 to pi. Integral 0 to pi x into sin raised to 8x dx divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x. Okay. Plus what? Plus integral 0 to pi, x is replaced by what? Here we are going to replace x by 2 pi minus x. So this x is replaced by what? 2 pi minus x. Sin pi minus 2 pi minus x, that is negative sign, but raised to 8 is there, therefore positive. So we will directly write it as sin raised to 8x. Why? It is actually negative. 2 pi minus x in fourth quadrant, but raised to 8, so it becomes plus. Divided by what? Divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x. All these are becomes positive, raised to 8x is there. That is equal to the property, we are using this property. So this is equal to what? Integral 0 to pi x into sin raised to 8x dx divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x plus the first factor 2 pi common, 2 pi into integral 0 to pi sin raised to 8x dx divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x minus what? Minus, what is it? I think you are getting it. Integral 0 to pi x sin raised to 8x dx divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x. And we can see that this is a positive term and this is a negative term. That is getting cancelled. What remains here? 0 to pi, 2 pi common, 2 pi into integral 0 to pi. And again we will apply the formula integral 0 to, but one more formula is what? Integral 0 to 2a, that is equal to 2 times integral 0 to a when f of 2a minus x is equal to f of x. And you can see that also there. Pi minus sin pi minus sin x, cos pi minus cos x, but raised to 8 is there, so it becomes plus. Okay, raised to, if it is raised to 9 you cannot apply there, raised to 8 is there, therefore all negative values become positive. So what I can write is this into 2 times integral 0 to its half. If it is integral 0 to a, I will write it as integral 2 times integral 0 to a. So here it is pi, I will write from 0 to pi by 2, Then the answer you are getting directly. What is it? Sin raised to 8x dx divided by sin raised to 8x plus cos raised to 8x. Okay. And its answer, you know it. What is that answer? The integral value is pi by 4. You are not going to evaluate this one. Everybody know this answer is pi by 4. So outside there is 4 pi, 2 pi into 2, 4 pi into pi by 4. So what is your answer? 4 cancels. Answer is pi square. Okay. Answer is what? Pi square. Clear? So the concept, two concepts we have used, that is a very common concept. Question number 6, if f dash of x equal to tan inverse of sec x plus tan x negative pi by 2 less than x less than pi by 2 and f of 0 is equal to 0, then f of 1 is equal to. Very usually the question with f of x equal to tan inverse of, f of x equal to tan inverse of sec x plus tan x. That is a very usual question that can be differentiated, that can be integrated, or that can be simplified. In 3 chapters you have seen that question. Okay. Here that concept is linked with another chapter. What is that chapter? Differential equation chapter. The same concept is linked with the differential equation. So it crosses the barriers of chapter. How will you simplify this one? Dy by dx means f dash of x means dy by dx, or f dash of x you can write. F dash of x is equal to tan inverse of sec x is 1 by cos x plus sin x by cos x. That we will simplify as tan inverse of 1 plus sin x. What is 1 plus sin x? 1 plus, numerator is 1 plus sin x. Divided by cos x. 1 plus sin x is cos square x by 2 plus sin square x by 2 plus 2 sin x by 2 cos x by 2. Directly we will write it as cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2 the whole square. Whole divided by cos x is what? Cos square x by 2 minus sin square x by 2. And one plus term getting cancelled. What will be there? Cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2 divided by cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2. You all are familiar with that concept. And it will be reduced into what? Tan inverse of dividing by cos. Dividing by cos, it will be 1 plus tan x by 2 divided by 1 minus tan x by 2. And that is equal to, what is it? F dash of x. It is not f of x, it is f dash of x. F dash of x equal to tan inverse of tan of pi by 4 plus x by 2. That is f dash of x is equal to, as it comes in the principal value branch, we can see that tan inverse tan becomes identity. So it is pi by 4 plus x by 2. Then we will write its function. Now it is given f dash, therefore we have to integrate. F of x is equal to pi by 4 into x plus x square by 4 plus c. And the initial condition f of 0 is equal to 0. That is, put x equal to 0, y is equal to 0. X equal to 0 implies y is equal to 0. F of x is your y. So 0 is equal to 0 plus c, that implies c is equal to 0. So f of x equal to what? Therefore f of x is equal to pi x divided by 4 plus x square by 4. Therefore f of 1 is equal to, what we have to calculate is f of 1. We have to calculate f of 1. F of 1 is equal to, we have to calculate f of 1. Therefore f of 1 is equal to, put x equal to, very simple, f of 1, put x equal to 1, pi by 4 or pi plus 1 by 4. Common denominator is 4. F of 1 is equal to pi plus 1 divided by 4, option C. Very simple question. If you are able to identify, it is lightly linked with differential equation. Inverse trigonometry plus differential equation. Okay. Not difficult. Next problem. If the matrix says A, A is given, B is equal to adjoint of A and C is equal to 3A, we have to calculate determinant of adjoint of B divided by determinant of C. Anyway, everybody know that we have to calculate determinant of A in this case. So what is determinant of A? Determinant of A is equal to 1 into 9 minus plus 4, 9 plus 4 minus 1 into 3 minus 4 plus 2 into minus 1 minus 3. So this is equal to 13. This is minus 1 minus plus 1 and this is negative 4. So minus 8. 14 minus 8, that is equal to 6. Determinant of A is equal to 6. Okay, very simply you will be able to calculate determinant of A. Then what is B? B is equal to adjoint of A. So what is determinant of B? Determinant of B is equal to determinant of adjoint of A. Determinant of adjoint of A is equal to what? Determinant of A square raised to n minus 1. Determinant of adjoint of A is equal to determinant of A raised to n minus 1. Here n is equal to 3, therefore n minus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, that is equal to 6 square is equal to 36. And C is equal to 3A. Therefore, determinant of C is equal to determinant of 3A. That is equal to 3 cube, you know it, 3 cube. 3 cube into determinant of A, that is equal to 27 into 6. 27 into 6. Okay. Again we have to calculate, what do you have to calculate again? Determinant of adjoint of B. Determinant of adjoint of B, what is that? Determinant of B whole raised to 2, same formula. That is equal to what? 36 square. 36 square. Now we can calculate the question. What is it? Determinant of adjoint of B divided by determinant of C is equal to 36 square. You do not calculate 36 square is equal to what? 1296. You should not write like that. We will simply write it as 36 into 36 divided by determinant of C. You should not calculate what is this 26 into 27 into 6. Should not calculate. You just write it as 27 into 6. Now we have to calculate it. So what is it? 6. Here will be a 6 and we can cancel by 9. Just cancel by 9. 3 will be here and 4 will be here. Then we can calculate with 3, 2. So 4 into 2, that is equal to 8. Very simple. Okay. Shall we go to the next problem? The number of real roots of the equation e raised to 4x plus e raised to 3x minus 4 into e raised to 2x plus e raised to x plus 1 is equal to 0. Number of real roots of the equation. It is an exponential function is there and its different forms are also there. Practically it is not possible to solve this question with e raised to x. So what will you do? We shall try to reduce this problem, and you have seen different types of these kind of problems. In this kind of problems we will try to what will you do? We will divide by e raised to 2x here. Divide by e raised to 2x. Then the first one will be e raised to 2x plus e raised to x minus 4 plus 1 by e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to 2x, that is equal to 0. collect the similar terms. What are the similar terms? E raised to 2x plus 1 by e raised to 2x. And here is plus what? Plus e raised to x, similar term e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x. And here is a minus 4, that is equal to 0. And this is nothing but, the first one is nothing but x square plus 1 by x square model. X square plus 1 by x square is what? X plus 1 by x, the whole square minus 2. So the first one I can write it as e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x, the whole square minus 2 plus e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x minus 4 is equal to 0. And I shall substitute t is equal to e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x. So the question becomes t square plus t minus 2 minus 4 minus 6 is equal to 0. What is t? You have to remember t is equal to e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x. On factorizing, we get it as factorization. On factorizing, we can see it as t plus 3 into t minus 2, isn't it? Is equal to 0. T minus 2 equal to 0. That implies t is equal to negative 3 or t is equal to 2. Shall we get it? T is equal to negative 3. E raised to x is always positive. E raised to 1 by e raised to x is also always positive. Sum of two positive quantity cannot be negative, so this is not possible. So what I can write is t equal to 2. What we can write is only t is equal to 2. So e raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x, that is equal to 2. And these are two positive quantities. And again you know that if y greater than 0, y plus 1 by y is always greater than or equal to 2. It cannot be less than 2. Y plus 1 by y is always greater than or equal to 2, and equal to 2 occur only when each of that is equal to 1, 1 plus 1. So we can say that this is 1 and this is also 1. So we can say that only one possibility is e raised to x is equal to e raised to 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, x is equal to 0. X equal to 0 is the only one possibility. Okay. Because why? E raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x. E raised to x plus 1 by e raised to x. That will be always greater than or equal to 2. No doubt. And equal to 2 occur only when each term is equal to 1. That means first is 1, second is 1. E raised to x equal to 1. That means x equal to 0. Therefore, 0 is the only possible solution. Okay. So the question is, how many solutions are there? The number of solution. Number of roots. Number of roots is what? Now the number of roots is 1. 1 is not the root. X is the root. And number of root is 1. Okay. Question number 9. Negation of the statement root 5 is an integer or root 5 or is irrational number. So very easily you know that negation of P or Q. What is negation of P or Q? That is equal to negation P and negation Q. So we can see that not P means root 5 is not an integer and root 5 is not an irrational. So option B, very simple. Second option. First not and second is also not. Okay, and this is a very simple concept, but in all G-main problems, usually there will be one questions from this kind of simple concept, especially from this chapter. All the question paper you can see. And from statistics also, usually there will be a very simple question from statistics. Let the observation xi I is equal to 1 to 10 satisfies the equation I is equal to 1 to 10. I is equal to 1 to 10. this one. I is equal to 1 to 10 xi minus 5, that is equal to 10, and sigma I is equal to 1 to 10 xi minus 5 the whole square equal to 40. If mu and lambda are mean and variance of the observations x1 minus 3, x2 minus 3, etc. That is xi minus 3. This can be written as what? Xi minus 3. The observation is xi minus 3. Then the ordered pair mu lambda is equal to, that means what is mu, what is lambda? Okay. And what you know is, suppose that x1, x2, etc. Let x1, x2, etc. xn is an observation, and its x bar is mu x. X bar, the arithmetic mean. This is your x bar. X bar arithmetic mean is mu x. Simply here it is given as mu. Then what will be the observation? Suppose that yi is equal to xi minus, let be some a. Suppose each, if a is subtracted from each of this observation, and we have constructed that observation, named that observation as yi. Our question is, what is mu y? Mu y. New arithmetic mean. What will be that? That is simply x bar minus a. And what will be the standard deviation? Suppose that is sigma x is the standard deviation of xi. What will be the standard deviation? Sigma y. Is it will be sigma x minus a? It will not be. What will be that? Only sigma x. So, subtracting a quantity from each of the observation is called change of origin. Subtraction or addition, no problem. It is called change of origin. And change of origin will not affect the standard deviation or variance. Change of origin will not affect the standard deviation or variance. At the same time, it is affecting the arithmetic mean. Okay. Now we can see, I am going to define a new variable. Suppose that yi is equal to xi minus 5. Yi is equal to xi minus 5. I am going to calculate y bar. Y bar is equal to sigma yi divided by n, that is equal to 10. That is equal to 10 divided by 10, that is equal to 1. Y bar is equal to 1. Now we have to calculate x bar. What is x bar? X bar is obtained from y by adding 5. Okay. So xi is equal to what? Xi is equal to yi minus 5. Therefore, x bar is equal to what? Y bar plus 5. That is equal to 1 plus 5. That is equal to 6. But we have to calculate a we have to consider new set of observations. What is it? Xi minus 3. Xi minus 3. It's a standard, it's a arithmetic mean. Xi minus 3 bar. That is given as mu. So, mu is equal to what? We have to subtract 3 from 6. That is equal to, we can write the formula also. What is that? X bar minus 3. That is equal to 6 minus 3 is equal to 6. We have applied this concept. Very simple. Then, the next part. What is the next part? Variance. I already told you that variance, the change of origin will not affect variance or standard deviation. Change of origin affects only this measure of center tendency. So what will be that? We have to calculate the variance of yi only. Variance of yi is equal to variance of xi, that is equal to, or variance of xi minus 5, that is equal to variance of xi, that is equal to variance of xi minus 3. In all these cases, for every set of observations, variance will be the same. So we have to calculate only what? Sigma. What is sigma of y we are calculating? We are going to calculate sigma of y only. I am not going to calculate sigma of xi minus 5 or sigma of xi or sigma of xi minus 3. That is equal to what? Formula sigma yi square divided by n minus y bar the whole square. That is equal to yi square is already given 40. 40 divided by 10 minus y bar 3. Y bar is equal to 1. Y bar is equal to 1. Y bar is equal to 1 square. So 4 minus 1, that is equal to 3. Very simple. Y bar is 1. So answer is option 4. Option 4, 3, 3. Okay. So you have to clearly go through this concept. Change of origin, how the change of origin is affecting measure of center tendency and measure of deviation. Next problem is the product of 2 raised to 1 by 4 into 4 raised to 1 by 6, etc. This again you can see, you can rearrange it as convert all these numbers in such a way that the base is same. What can be the base? We can see that all the base is now the powers of 2. So let us rearrange it as 2 raised to 1 by 4, I shall write it like that, into 2 square whole raised to 1 by 16. So 2 raised to 2 by 16 into 2 raised to 3 by 48 into 2 raised to 4 by 128 into etc. That is equal to, we can take 2 as common base. We will add all the powers, 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 16 plus etc. This is a GP, infinity GP with A is equal to 1 by 4 and R is equal to 1 by 2. The formula is S infinity is equal to A divided by 1 minus R. So this is equal to 1 by 4 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2. So that will be 1 by 4 by 1 by 2, that is equal to 1 by 2. So it is 2 raised to 1 by 2 is equal to root 2. Is there any option? No. 2 raised to 1 by 2 is there. 2 raised to 1 by 2. So answer is 1, option 1. 12. A circle touches the y-axis at the point 0, 4 and passes through the point 2, 0. Which of the following lines is not a tangent to the circle? So again we have some wonderful concepts. This is a circle and there is a line that touches, the circle. Suppose that this line touches the circle at the point x1, y1 and equation of this line is, suppose that L is equal to 0. This is a point x1, y1. What is the equation of this line? Sorry, equation of this circle. Equation of line is given, L is equal to 0. What's the equation? The equation is x minus x1 the whole square plus y minus y1 the whole square plus lambda into L is equal to 0. We have to find the value of lambda with some given conditions. Some condition will be there. it will be tangent to another line, or it passes through some other point. In this case, it is given that it passes through the point 2, 0. So, what is this point here? Touching point is point of contact 0, 4. And this circle passes through another point. What is that point? 2, 0. And what is that line? The line is y-axis. What is y-axis? Equation of y-axis. Equation of y-axis. This is y-axis now. Y-axis. Y-axis means the line is x equal to 0. So the line L is x equal to 0. This is actually vertical line. I have written drawn like this, but you have to consider it as vertical line. I am explaining the general case here. So the equation becomes what? X minus 0 the whole square plus y minus 4 the whole square plus lambda into x lambda into L. What is L? L is x equal to 0. Equal to 0. And how will you calculate lambda? Lambda is calculated by substituting the point 2, 0. Put x equal to 2 and y is equal to 0. X equal to 2 means 2 square 4 plus y is equal to 0, so it is 4 square 16 plus lambda into 2 is equal to 0. So 20, so lambda is equal to negative 10 will be 20 by 2, negative 10. Lambda is equal to negative 10. Okay. That value again we will substitute here. So the equation will be x square plus, and we can expand this one. Expanding this one, what you will get? Y square will be there. And lambda is equal to negative 10. So negative 10x, and here it will be 2 into 4, 8 minus 8y plus 16. 4 square 16 is equal to 0. That's the equation of circle. And we have to consider the condition for tangency. What is the condition for tangency? When we say that a line is tangent to a circle. This is a line, and this line ax plus by plus c equal to 0. And this line is tangent to the circle. When we say that it is tangent, you know that if it is tangent, the radius is equal to perpendicular distance. What is the formula? Radius. Radius is equal to modulus of, suppose that this is x1 by 1. Center is x1 by 1. Modulus of a x1 plus b y1 plus c divided by root of a square plus b square. And in this case, what is the radius? What is radius in this problem? Or what is the center? Center is, first we will calculate center. What is center? 5, 4. Okay, minus g minus f. Minus g minus f is the center. That is 10 by 2, negative 10 by 2, 5. It's negative 5. Negative 8 by 2, negative 4. It's a half. It's a negative 4. And the radius. What is the formula for radius? Root of g square plus f square minus c. Root of g square 25 plus 4 square 16 minus c 16. So radius is equal to 5. Now there are how many tangents can be there? Infinitely many tangents. One tangent here, another tangent, another tangent. So infinitely many tangents. So you are not asked to calculate a single tangent. There can be infinitely many tangents. All that tangents are lines. Which of the following is not a tangent? So you cannot calculate this equation. What you can do? Only verify. So verifying first one. First one is what? 3x minus 4y minus 24 is equal to 0. What is the point? Point is, what is that point? 4, 5. 4, 5. We substitute this point 4, 5. And what is the radius? 5. Just to check, 5 is equal to modulus of 4 into 5, 4 into 3. We will substitute here. 12 minus 20 minus 24. Divided by, what is it? Divided by root of 25, that is equal to 5. You can directly write, I think. So it is 44 minus 12. Is there any mistake? 5 4, sorry, I have written wrongly. It is not 4 5, it is actually what? 4, it is not 4 5, sorry. Point is 5 4. So 5 is equal, we have to verify whether it is true or false. So 15 minus 16 minus 24 divided by root of a square plus b square is 5. Now we can see that it is 40 minus 15, 25. 25 by 5, that is equal to 5. So 5 is equal to 5. So first one is, what is it? First one is a tangent. First one is a tangent that satisfies, therefore it is not an answer. So you can verify second, that also will satisfy. And third, if you check third, we can see that, what is the third one? 4x plus 3y minus 8. This is a line. And here is a center. What is that center? 5 4. And what is the radius? R. You just calculate this distance. R is equal to 5. And 5 is equal to modulus of substituting 4 into 5, 20 plus 12 minus 8 divided by 5. Is it true? It is not true. So not equal. This is not equal. Therefore, option 3 does not satisfy the condition radius equal to perpendicular distance. Therefore, that is not the tangent. Our question is, which of the following is not a tangent? Which of the following is not a tangent? The method from this concept, what is our concept? This is a formula. Using this formula, general formula, we have constructed the equation of circle, and then we have find the center radius, and now we have used the concept of the condition for tangency. Okay. So we shall go to the next problem. If E1 and E2 are the eccentricities of the ellipse x square by 18 plus y square by 4 is equal to 1, and the hyperbola x square by 9 minus y square by 4 is equal to 1 respectively, and even E2 is a point on the ellipse 15x square plus 3y square is equal to k, then k is equal to. So what is the eccentricity of ellipse? You know it. Eccentricity of the ellipse, E is equal to root of, you can use different formulas, c by a or a square minus b square, any of the formula, different formulas are there, any of the formula you use, let us write E is equal to root of 1 minus b square by a square, that is equal to root of 1 minus 4 by 18, that is equal to 18 minus 4, 14, root of 14 divided by 18. So E1, this is actually E1. E1 is equal to root of 7 by 9 in the simplest form. Okay. Now we will calculate E2, this for hyperbola. What is the formula? Root of, what is the formula? 1 plus b square by a square, that is equal to root of 1 plus b square 4 by 9, that is equal to root 13 by 9. Now we have to calculate, we know that E1, E2 is a point. E1, E2 is a point on this ellipse. What is that ellipse? 15x square plus 3y square is equal to k. We have to find the value of k. What do you have to do? Substitute E1 and E2 here. Therefore, 15 into x square is 7 by 9. This is 7 by 9 square, root square 7 by 9, plus 3 into y square 13 by 9 is equal to k. And what is it? 15 to 7, 105 plus 39 divided by 9 is equal to k. What is it? 144? 144. 144 divided by 9 is equal to k. Therefore, k is equal to 16. Okay. Option 4. And if you don't know this 144 by 9 is equal to k, how will you how will you divide this one? Are you going to divide like this? Not. What will you do? 144 is 12 into 12. Very simple. 12 into 12, 3 into 3. Very simple. There are so many techniques. Question number 14. Let it be any function continuous on, let f be, let us read it as f. Let f be any function continuous on closed interval ab and twice differentiable on open interval ab. If for x belongs to open interval ab, f dash of x greater than 0. This function we can see that f dash of x is greater than 0 and f double dash of x is also greater than 0. Sorry, f double dash of x is actually less than 0. It is given that it is less than 0, isn't it? Then for any c belongs to open interval ab, f of c minus f of a divided by f of b minus f of c. And options are given in terms of a, b, c, etc. b minus c, c minus a, something like that. So what is the geometrical, what is the meaning of f dash of x greater than 0? F dash of x greater than 0 means f of x is increasing. What you can say? F increasing. The graph is upward. The graph is upward. Okay. F increasing means graph is upward. And what is its meaning? It's actually f dash of x the whole dash less than 0. That is what f double dash of x. What is f dash? F dash is slope. So slope m dash, slope is m dash less than 0. What's the meaning? Slope decreasing. What you can say? Slope decreasing. F double dash of x less than, f dash of x greater than 0 means, the graph is increasing. And f double dash of x less than 0 means its slope is decreasing. So we have to think about the shape of the graph with maxima. Shape of the graph with maxima. And this part will not be there. Why? This part is for decreasing part. F decreasing. And it is clearly given that f is increasing. Shape of maxima curve and its left part. Increasing part of f. And suppose that A is here and B is here. Suppose that C is any point in between here, C. And compare the slope here and the slope here. Slope is actually something like this. You can see that using mean value theorem, there will be a line parallel to this chord. Any point it may be, a line will be parallel to here. And this is your M1 and this is your M2. F dash of x less than 0. What is the inequality we can use here? Slope is decreasing. We can see that suppose that x is x1 here and x2 here. x1 and x2. And you know that x1 less than x2. x1 less than x2 means what you can say? M1 is greater than M2. Why? Why? Slope is decreasing. Or from the shape of these two tangents. Sorry, it is not a tangent, it is chord. And correspondingly there will be a tangent, you know it. Why? Lagrange's mean value theorem. So all these are the understanding level of Lagrange's mean value theorem. So M1 greater than M2, you know it. What is M1 here? M1 is, we can use the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So what is this point? C f of c. C f of c is the point, and this point is a f of a. We can apply f of c minus f of a divided by c minus a, that is greater than slope of this second slope m2, f of b minus f of c divided by b minus c. Now we can just cross multiply. Cross multiplying answer is there. What is it? F of c minus f of a divided by f of b minus f of c greater than c minus a divided by cross multiplying b minus c, just to cross multiply. Answer is options 3. Okay, it's a very good problem where you have to apply the concepts of increasing, decreasing, Lagrange's mean value theorem. Okay. Question number 15, if for some alpha and beta in R, the intersection of the following 3 planes, there are 3 planes are given, is a line in R cube. So consider 3 planes. This is a plane and another plane here. These 2 planes can intersect on a line, and there is one more plane that passing through this one. What is the meaning of that? One more plane is here. That plane is also passing through this line. One more plane is passing through this line. So 3 planes containing this line means how this line is common to all these 3 planes. That means all the points on this line is common. All the points means each point is a solution of this system of equation. Each point is a solution of this system of equation. And every point on this line is a solution of this system of equation. So I think you are getting the idea now. What you have to consider, the idea is infinitely many solution. The concept of infinitely many solution. What is the concept of infinitely many solution now? In system of linear equation, the condition for infinitely many solution is delta is equal to 0, delta x equal to delta y is equal to delta z is equal to 0 using Cramer's rule. Okay. Now using delta is equal to 0, what you can say? Delta means the coefficient determined 1, 4, negative 2, 1, 7, negative 5, 1, 5, alpha, that is equal to 0. So 1 into 7 alpha plus 25 minus 4 into alpha plus 5 minus 2 into 5 minus 7, that is equal to 0. So 7 alpha plus 25 minus 4 alpha minus 20, and here it is minus 2. So plus 4 is equal to 0. 7 alpha minus 4 alpha, 3 alpha. 25, 29. So 25 plus 4, 29. 29 minus 20, 9. Plus 9 is equal to 0. That implies alpha is equal to negative 3. Okay. Then we have to calculate delta x, delta y, delta z, all these things also, but better. We need only this beta. So we have to replace this beta, the column containing beta with the column containing alpha. So we have to calculate only delta z. Now delta z is equal to 1, 1, 1, 4, 7, 5 and what? 1 beta 5. That is equal to 0. Therefore, 1 into 35 minus 5 beta minus 4 into 5 minus beta plus 1 into what is it? 5 minus 7 minus 2 is equal to 0. 5 minus 7 minus 2. So opening the bracket, 35 minus 5 beta minus 20 plus 4 beta minus 2 is equal to 0. So minus 5 beta plus 4 beta minus beta. And 35, what you can say is 35 minus 22. 13 plus 13 is equal to 0. Therefore, beta is equal to 13. We have to calculate what? Alpha plus beta. What is now alpha plus beta? Very simple. What is alpha plus beta? Alpha is negative 3. Beta is here. Very simple. Negative 3 plus 13, that is equal to 10. Okay. Next problem we shall discuss is the integral dx divided by x plus 4 whole raised to 8 by 7 into x minus 3 whole raised to 6 by 7 is equal to. And usually in the case of indefinite integral, in many of the question papers you can see the questions with fractional powers. Okay, it's also a question like that. So let us try to simplify the denominator first. Denominator is x plus 4 whole raised to 8 by 7 into x minus 3 whole raised to 6 by 7. That is equal to, you have seen many type of questions like this. The method is, what you have to do? The same thing, x plus 4 whole raised to 8 by 7 divided by the second factor you will take with the same power, x minus 3 whole raised to 8 by 7. We will divide by this factor, so we will multiply by that factor. Already here is x minus 3 whole raised to 6 by 7 into what? The divided by factor. X minus 3 whole raised to 8 by 7. That's equal to, this is actually a common, it has common power. Therefore, we can write common as x plus 4 divided by x minus 3 whole raised to 8 by 7. Into what? Into adding the powers, 6 plus 8, 14. 14 by 7, 2. X minus 3 whole square. That's a common denominator. Not common, that's a denominator. And if you substitute this equal to some t, suppose that t is equal to x plus 4 divided by x minus 3. dt is equal to denominator into derivative of numerator 1 minus numerator into derivative of denominator divided by denominator square into dx. That is dt is equal to negative 3 minus 4 negative 7 divided by x minus 3 the whole square into dx. So let us write the integral as I is equal to, what is your integral I? I is equal to integral dx divided by the denominator. What is the denominator? x plus 4 divided by x minus 3 whole raised to 8 by 7 into x minus 3 the whole square. This is dx. Let us multiply by a negative 7 and divide by a negative 7. The negative 7 dx divided by x minus 3 the whole square is nothing but dt. So the question is what? Negative 1 by 7 into integral of dt divided by t raised to 8 by 7. Very simple. Is it simple now? So t raised to negative 8 by 7 plus 1 divided by negative 8 by 7 plus 1. That is t raised to negative 1 by 7 divided by negative 1 by 7. So this negative 1 by 7, negative 1 by 7 get cancelled. What remains? This is equal to t raised to, what is t? X plus 4 divided by x minus 3 whole raised to t is that raised to negative 1 by 7 plus c. Is there any answer like that? No. But there is option 1, you can see it's reciprocal with 1 by 7. So option A. Here negative 1 by 7, we have to take the reciprocal. So x minus 3 divided by x plus 4. Okay. So these are common steps you have seen in so many problems, and if you are able to reduce it like this, then the problem is very simple. What is question number 17? Let C be the centroid of the triangle with vertices. 3 vertices are given. And P be the point of intersection of the lines x plus 3y minus 1 equal to 0 and 3x minus y plus 1 is equal to 0. Then the line passes through the point C and P also passes through the point. Which point? In this case also we have seen a problem which of the following is not a tangent, because here also what you can see is there is a line, you are asking to find a line, but it is not the question, the question is not to find the equation of the line. If you are asked to find the equation of the line, there will be a unique answer. What is it? Question is, there are infinitely many points, and which of the among these points, which one can lie on this line? So what will be the method? First of all, we have to find the equation of line. Then we have to substitute these points and verify. Substitute the points and verify. That's only one method. You cannot uniquely determine a point. You cannot calculate which option 9, 7 or something like that. You cannot calculate. Why? There are infinitely many answers. Okay. And also you have to remember the geometrical centers of triangle. What are the geometrical centers of triangle? Centroid, orthocenter, circumcenter, incenter. Very, very, very important. In all the question papers, you can see some problems related to any of these concepts. Okay. So first we will calculate what is the centroid. Centroid is nothing but x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3. X equal to centroid. X equal to 3 plus 1 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 by 3. 6 by 3 is equal to 3. 2. Y is equal to y1 7, 7 minus 1 6, 6 by 3, that is equal to 2. So centroid is 2, 2. Okay. This is a triangle and this is a point. Here is a centroid. And there is a circle, there is a line that is passing through this point and also passes through the point of intersection of another two lines L1 and L2. The first line is L1, given that two lines, isn't it? The line L1 and second is L2. L1 and L2. You cannot see. We have to calculate the equation of this line L. Equation of line L. This line L passes the centroid of this triangle, that is 2, 2, and also the intersection of two lines L1 and L2. And you will apply the family of lines here. What is family of lines? L1 plus L2 lambda into L2 is equal to 0. L1 plus lambda into L2 is equal to 0. Therefore, x plus 3y minus 1 plus lambda into 3x minus y plus 1 is equal to 0. And we have to find the value of lambda. The method is known to you. What is it? Substitute the point 2, 2. Substitute in 2, 2 plus 6 minus 1 plus lambda into 6 minus 2 plus 1, that is equal to 0. So here it is 6, 7, 8, 8 minus 1, 8 minus 1, 7, 7 plus here 7, 7 minus 2, 5, 5 lambda is equal to 0, therefore lambda is equal to negative 7 divided by 5. That value we will substitute again here. How will you substitute? X plus 3y minus 1 minus 7 divided by 5 into 3x minus y plus 1 is equal to 0. Multiply by 5. So 5 you will write here. So 5x plus 15y minus 5 minus 21x plus 7y minus 7 is equal to 0. And 5x minus 21x, 16x, negative 16x, 15y minus 15 plus 7, 22, plus 22y minus 20 minus 12 is equal to 0. Now we can divide by 2, of course. If you want, you can divide by minus 2 also, right? Let us divide by minus 2. Dividing by minus 2, 8x minus 11y plus 6 equal to 0. Okay, you are getting the answer? You are getting the line, that's the line L. Substitute all these points. For example, substituting A, first point. Substituting first point, 7. 8 into 7 minus 11 into 6 plus 6. Is it equal to 0? 56? No, this 66 not equal to 0. So option A is not. Now substitute option B, that is option 2. We can see that option 2 is satisfying. Negative 9, negative 6 is satisfying. Very simple now. Next problem. This is a continuity, a very important concept again. Continuity is also very important. F of x equal to sin a plus 2 into x plus sin x divided by x, x naught less than 0, and x plus 3x square whole raised to 1 by 3 minus x raised to 1 by 3, x raised to 1 by 3 divided by x raised to 4 by 3 is continuous at x equal to 0. It is continuous at x equal to 0. We have to calculate a plus 2b. We have to calculate a plus 2b. It is continuous means both the left hand side is equal to right hand side is equal to value of the function. That is it. Left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to value of the function. F of a means f of 0. That is equal to right hand limit. What is left hand limit? Limit x tends to 0 sin a plus 2 into x plus sin x divided by x, that is equal to f of 0. F of 0 is b. And we can see that its answer is sin x by x, a. So it is a plus 2 plus sin x by x is 1, that is equal to b. So a plus 3 is equal to b. That is equation number 1. A plus b is equal to a plus 3 is equal to b. That is equation number 1. That is from left hand limit. Now from right hand limit. Right hand limit you can calculate. Limit x tends to 0. 0 means 0 plus. You can take x outside. In both these things, x is there. X raised to 1 by 3 into x plus 3, sorry, it is not x, it is 1. X is already taken outside. X is taken outside. 1 plus 3x whole raised to 1 by 3 minus x raised to 1 by 3. Denominator x raised to 4 by 3. That is nothing but x into x raised to 1 by 3. X into x raised to 1 by 3 is x raised to 4 by 3. What you can see is x raised to 1 by 3 is common, that is getting cancelled. So limit x tends to 0. 1 plus 3x whole raised to 1 by 3 minus 1 divided by x raised only. X raised to 1 by 3 is cancelled. Again, all these are 0 by 0, of course. 0 by 0. This is 0 by 0, this is also 0 by 0. If it is 0 by 0, we will apply L'Hospital. 0 by 0 means we will apply L'Hospital. So this is equal to limit x tends to 0, 1 by 3 into 1 plus 3x whole raised to 1 by 3 minus 1 is negative 2 by 3 into derivative of 3x, that is equal to 3 minus 1, that is 0 divided by 1. And putting x equal to 0, we will be getting 1 by 3 into 3, that is equal to 1. That is again b, because right hand limit f of b is equal to right hand limit. Sorry, f of 0 is equal to right hand limit. F of 0 is b. So b is equal to this one. B is equal to 1. We will substitute in equation number 1. So a plus 3 is equal to 1. That implies a is equal to minus 2. A equal to minus 2. Therefore, a plus 2b is equal to. We have to calculate a plus 2b. A plus 2b is equal to what? A is equal to minus 2 plus 2. Minus 2 plus 2 becomes 0. Option is option 4. Okay. It is also an average problem, you can see. Question number 19, the value of cos cube pi by 8 into cos of 3 pi by 8 plus sin cube pi by 8 into sin of 3 pi by 8. You have seen lot of problems related to this pi by 3 pi by 8, all these things. What will you do? We just check what is pi by 2 minus pi by 8, or you can check pi by 2 minus 3 pi by 8. Common step. What is that? 3 pi by 8. Okay. Therefore, cos of 3 pi by 8 is equal to what? Cos of 3 pi by 8 is equal to cos of pi by 2 minus pi by 8. That is equal to sin pi by 8. Okay. Now the problem is very simple. What is first one? Cos. First is cos cube pi by 8. And cos 3 pi by 8 is sin pi by 8. Okay. Plus, similarly, in the second factor, sin cube pi by 8 into what will be sin 3 pi by 8 using the same concept? Cos pi by 8. What is common here? What is common? Sin pi by 8 and cos pi by 8. Sin pi by 8 into cos pi by 8 is common. Into what? Into 1. Can you see into 1 there? What remains is cos square theta plus sin square theta. That is equal to 1. What is the next step? Sin theta into cos theta comes. Multiply by 2, divide by 2. Everybody knows. So the next step is we will multiply by 2 and divide by 2. Okay. So 1 by 2 into sin pi by 8. 2 into sin pi by 8 into cos pi by 8. That is 1 by 2 into sin 2 theta. 2 into pi by 8. Pi by 4. Sin pi by 4. That is 1 by 2 into sine pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. Answer is there. 1 by 2 root 2. Okay. Shall we go to the next problem? For all real triplets ABC, f of x equal to a plus bx plus cx square, then integral 0 to 1 f of x dx is equal to. Options are given. Very simply you can integrate, no problem. Integral 0 to 1 f of x dx, that is equal to ax plus bx square by 2 plus cx cube by 3. Within the limit 0 to 1, that is equal to a plus b by 2 plus c by 3. Minus 0 part becomes 0. Common denominator is 6. Okay. So from here itself I think you can guess the answer. But it is not better to guess. 1 by 6 is here. Not better to 6. Better to guess. So 6a plus 3b plus 2c. Let us calculate what are the values given. F of 0 is there, f of 1 is there, f of 1 by 2. All these things you can calculate. What is the method? Now also in this case also you cannot find the options by any method. What you can do is only verify the options. Only verify. Don't try to derive the options from this question. We have to verify the options. So first of all I will write f of 0. F of 0 is here. F of 0 is equal to a. F of 1. F of 1 is equal to a plus b plus c. And f of 1 by 2. That's equal to a plus b by 2 plus c by 4. Multiply by 4. 4 into f of 1 by 2. That is equal to 4a plus 2b plus c. Suppose that we are adding these three. F of 0 plus f of a plus f of 0 plus f of 1 plus, right? Plus 4 into f of 1 by 2. That's equal to a plus 4a, 6a. Are you getting now? Plus b plus 2b, 3b. Okay. You will be happy now. C plus c, 2c. What we need is by 6. So divide by 6, divide by 6. 1 by 6. Now we can see that option 3 is correct. Don't go to the wild guess. Just spend few seconds. I am doing all these steps to slowly because you have to understand. But when you are doing the problem on entrance, you can do much more faster. So don't worry about this time. Spending few seconds on this to verify all these things. Never guess any right answer. Never guess any right answer. That may make more overconfidence on you. So always verify the answers. Question number 21. Now we shall go to the questions in which there is no options. No options. 5 questions will be there. You know that there will be 20 questions with the options and 5 questions without options. Okay, this is what numerical problems. In earlier it was integer type, now it is not integer type. It can be fraction, it can be 3-digit number, anything it can be. The coefficient of x raised to 4 in the expansion of, this is a trinomial or multinomial, but we studied only up to binomial. Don't worry, we just convert this into binomial. Don't worry about it. So what you can write is 1 plus x into x plus 1 whole raised to 10. So this is your a and this is your b. So it is a plus b whole raised to 10. Now it is binomial. Don't worry about it. What is first one? 10c naught into 1 plus 10c1 into x plus 1 plus 10c2 into x plus 1 the whole square, x into x plus 1 the whole square. So I can write x square into x plus 1 the whole square plus 10c3 x cube into 1 plus x the whole cube plus 10c4 into x raised to 4 into x plus 1 whole raised to 4. Shall we write the remaining part? No. Why? Next part there will be x raised to 5. X raised to 5 into something that will be always greater than, the power will be always greater than 5. We need only the power of x raised to 4. So we can write plus etc. And we need only the power of x raised to 4. So we just leave this part. No need of it because there is no x raised to. And this part also we can leave because there is no x raised to 4. And on this expansion we can say that here is an x square and here is also x square. And its coefficient will be 10c2 plus. And you can see in 10c3 on this expansion there will be what? 3x square will be there. Remaining part I shall just avoid. In this expansion there will be 3x square. That 3x square into x cube into, sorry, we need only that part, isn't it? 3x, only x you need, 3x, not 3x square, we need only 3x because x cube into x. So, x cube into 3x, that will be 3x raised to 4. It's a coefficient you have to write. X cube into 3x, that is 3x raised to 4 into 10c3. So 10c3, 3 times 10c3 plus. And in this expansion I need only 1 plus something will be there, x raised to 4 into 1. So 10c4. Remaining part we shall not consider. These are the terms in which x raised to 4 is there. So we have to add all these things. 10c2 is of course 45, you know it, 10 into 9 divided by 2, 45 plus 3 into 10c3, 10 into 9 into 8 divided by 1 into 2 into 3, don't write 6 plus 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 divided by 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, don't write 24. You know why? Because you can cancel. Okay? So this is actually 45 plus, what will be this one? 3 cancel. Then 2 and 8, this will be 4. 90 into 4, 360. Plus, here also you can cancel, 8 is cancelled, and 3, 21, 2, 1, 0. Adding all these things. You can just add 210 plus 360 plus 45. 5, 6, 615. The answer is 615. Okay. That's answer. We shall go to the next problem, 22. The number of distinct solutions of the equation log base 1 by 2 of mod sin x equal to 2 minus log base 1 by 2 of mod cos x. So first of all we will apply log terms, you will collect left side, log terms. So, log base 1 by 2 of mod sin x plus log base 1 by 2 of mod cos x, that's equal to 2. Log a plus log b is log ab. So log base 1 by 2 of mod sin x into cos x, that is equal to 2. Now you can use different methods, better use log of log a to the base b, very simple one. log a to the base b is equal to what? Log a divided by log b. So what I am going to write is log of modulus of sin x into cos x divided by log of 1 by 2, any base. But what is this log of 1 by 2? I shall explain. Negative log 2. Log of 1 by 2 is negative log 2. Okay. So instead of this one, I shall write negative log 2. Log 1 by 2 is negative log 2. You understand? One step I just cut. That is equal to, right side is what? That is equal to 2. Cross multiply. Log of mod sin x into cos x, that is equal to negative to log 2. Negative to log 2, again you will apply the formula what? A log b, that is equal to log of b raised to a, another formula. So what is right side? What is right side now? Log, left side is log of modulus of sin x into cos x, that is equal to log of 2 raised to minus 2, that is equal to 1 by 4, log 1 by 4. Okay. Left side, right side, log get cancelled, taking exponential on both sides. Any base, no problem. So modulus of sin x into cos x, that is equal to 1 by 4. What is the next step? We have seen the steps earlier. Whenever sin x and cos x comes, multiply by 2 and divide by 2. 99% of the case, you may get the answer. So I shall multiply both sides by 2. We can say that modulus of sin 2x, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 2 sin x cos x sin 2x. That is equal to 1 by 2 now. Okay. Sin 2x equal to 1 by 2 and the variation of x, what is it? Sorry, a few more part is there question. In 0 to, the range is actually in 0 to pi. The number of solution in 0 to pi, in the interval 0 to pi. In the interval 0 to pi. That part also is there. So x lies in between 0 and x. 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2 pi. Then what will happen to 2x? 0 less than or equal to 2x less than or equal to 4 pi. So this 2x, we have to consider all these values from 0 to 4 pi. And we can say that sin x, sin 2x is equal to, modulus of sin 2x equal to 1 by 2 means sin 2x equal to plus or minus 1 by 2. So two equations are there. Sin 2x is equal to 1 by 2 and sin 2x is equal to minus 1 by 2. Sin 2x equal to 1 by 2 and sin 2x equal to minus 1 by 2. How many solutions will be there? For one complete revolution, sin 2x, there will be two values. Second revolution 0 to, now it is 0 to 4 pi. So it will be having how many values? 4 values. This will have 4 values. In first quadrant 2 values, second quadrant 2 values, pi by 6, 5 pi by 6. And for this one, how many solutions? Where the value is getting? In third quadrant, fourth quadrant. What is the revolution? From 0 to 4 pi. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many values? Here also 4 values. So 4 plus 4, that is equal to total 8 values. Total number of solutions is equal to what? Total number of solutions is equal to 8. The number of distinct solution is equal to, now the answer is 8. Okay. Or you can just draw the graph also. That also you can apply. Graph method and draw the line corresponding to x equal to 1 by 2. Line corresponding to x equal to 1 by 2. That also you can. How many times the graph is intersecting. That method also. Very easy method is just draw the revolution of that ray. Next problem 23. If x greater than 0, y is equal to y of x is the solution of the differential equation x plus 1 into dy is equal to x plus 1 whole square plus y minus 3 into dx. Y of 2 is equal to 0 is given, then y of 3 is what? So in differential equation, we just collect the dx and dy terms. So you may able to, sometimes you may be able to reduce the problem in a simple way. That is equal to x plus 1 the whole square into dx plus y minus 3 into dx. Okay. So here x dy, y dx form is there, that we will collect. X plus 1 into dy minus y minus 3 into dx, that is equal to x square, sorry, x plus 1 the whole square. So what is it? X plus 1 into dy minus y minus 3 into dx divided by x plus 1 the whole square, that is equal to dx. Now very easily you can write the left side is d of x plus 1 divided by d of y plus y minus 3, denominator into derivative of numerator form. Okay. Now it is very easily, it is y minus 3 divided by x plus 1. Denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator divided by denominator square. That is equal to d of x. What is the answer now? Simple. Y minus 3 divided by x plus 1 is equal to x plus c. Okay. Now put y of 2 is equal to 0. Put x equal to 2, y is equal to 0. X equal to 2 and y is equal to 0. That implies negative 3 divided by 3 is equal to 2 plus c. Negative 1 is equal to 2 plus c, that implies c is equal to minus 3. Therefore, y minus 3 divided by x plus 1 is equal to x minus 3. Now we have to calculate y minus 3, y of 3, y of 3. Put x equal to 3. Putting x equal to 3, we will be getting y minus 3 divided by 4 is equal to 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So y minus 3 is equal to 0, therefore y is equal to 3. That is y of 3 is equal to 3. So the answer becomes what? Answer becomes 3. Y of 3 is equal to, putting x equal to 3, y is equal to 3. Okay. Next problem. If the vectors P is given, Q is given and R is also given, they are A plus 1, A, okay. They are coplanar. What is the meaning of coplanarity? Coplanar means what? Coplanar means, so here is a mistake I think. This is actually vector, P vector, vector P. It is an error. Okay. Coplanar means the box product is equal to 0. Coplanar means what? Box product is equal to 0. That means determinant is equal to 0. So from this coplanarity, what you can say is PQR coplanar means box PQR is equal to 0. That implies A plus 1 A plus 1 A plus 1. That is equal to 0. Very easily you can calculate the value of A adding column wise or row wise. What will get? 3A plus 1 is common. That is taken outside. That is 3A plus 1 is equal to 0. That implies A is equal to minus 1 by 3. A is equal to negative 1 by 3. Therefore, what will be A plus 1? A plus 1 is equal to 1 minus 1 by 3 is equal to 2 by 3. A plus 1 is equal to 2 by 3. Therefore, what is vector P? Vector P is equal to A plus 1 is 2 by 3. You need only direction ratios. So I shall write it as 2 by 3 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3. And vector q is equal to negative 1 by 3, 2 by 3, negative 1 by 3. And vector r is equal to 1 by 3, negative 1 by 3, negative 1 by 3 and 2 by 3. Okay, this okay? Then we can calculate all these things. Vectors are given. P dot q whole square you can calculate. Modulus of P cross q the whole square you can calculate equal to 0. Very easily you will be getting the value of lambda. Okay. What is P dot q? P dot q. Here it is negative 1 by 9, negative 2 by 9 and negative 2 by 9 plus 1 by 3. That's equal to negative 4, negative 3 by 9, sorry. Negative 3 by 9, that is equal to negative 1 by 3. And that value you can calculate. Then what is P cross Q? P cross Q the whole square. You do not go to the determined part. Another method is there. What is that? P cross Q the whole square. Modulus both are same. Mod P square into mod Q square. Minus P dot Q the whole square. And its value that is equal to mod P square. What is mod P square? 4 by 9. All these are same. 4 by 9 plus 1 by 9 plus 1 by 9. That is equal to 6 by 9. 6 by 9 is equal to what? 2 by 3. Two by 3 into 2 by 3 minus P dot Q the whole square, that is equal to 1 by 9. What is that? 4 by 9 minus 1 by 9, 3 by 9, that is equal to 1 by 3. That value you can substitute here. So lambda is equal to 3 into, we have to calculate lambda, 3 into P dot Q the whole square. P dot Q the whole square is 1 by 9 minus lambda into, that's again 1 by 3, 1 by 9. That is equal to 1 by 3. 1 by 3, so what is the value of lambda? 1 by 3 minus lambda by 3 is equal to 0. That implies lambda is equal to 1. Okay. All these values you can separately calculate and substitute here. Clear? Question number 25. The projection of the line segment joining the points 1, negative 1, 3 and 2, negative 4, 11 on the line joining the points negative 1, 2, 3 and 2, negative 2, 10. And you know it is a very simple problem. See here the first 2 points are 1, negative 1, 3 and 2, negative 4, 11. And let be vector A, and other 2 points are negative 1, 2, 3, 3, negative 2, 10. So let be vector B. Let be vector B. What's our question now? Our question is projection of A on B. Very simple. So what is the projection of vector A on vector B? That is equal to, by definition, you know that vector A dot vector B divided by modulus of vector B. And from here we can say that vector A is equal to, I am writing only the direction ratios. 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. Negative 4 minus minus plus, so it is negative 3. 11 minus 3, 8. And vector B, that can be written as, I am writing only the direction ratios. 3 minus of minus 1, 3 plus 1, 4, minus 2, minus 4, and 10 minus 3, 10 minus 3 is 7. So in numerator you will write the dot product, very easy. 1 into 4, 4, plus 12, plus 56, divided by root of 4 square 16, plus 16, plus 49. And numerator you can see it is 80, divided by root of 81. It is 82. Sorry, 72. It will be 72. 72 divided by root 81. Root 81 is 9. That is equal to 8. So the answer is 8. Okay. A very simple problem, as it is a last problem also. So we have completed all the 25 questions of shift 1 of 9th January 2020. I think all of you can understand all the problems. Some of them are somewhat little difficult, but many of the problems are easy. In another video, we shall meet with shift 2 of 9th January 2020. Okay, thank you.